Welcome to the woods. Quite a pleasant day today. Now it would seem that some of the ideas I came up on my last video, storing of food and fuel and maybe a generator, seem quite prudent as things progress in Europe. Now I'm not going to delve deeply into that crisis or that war that's going on between Russia and Ukraine and all of the side players. There's plenty of content online if you want to delve into that. What I wanted to touch on today, what I wanted to talk about today, was something I've discussed before, which is if we find ourselves in a situation within a system that we don't like, we should be able to change it. But unfortunately, the system has put into place barriers, breaks, structures that really don't enable us to change it. And if you think about it, that's logical. Why would the system want anybody to change it? Why would the people that created that system want it to change when it benefits them? But it doesn't benefit us. So if we can't change it, what can we do? We can't change it through political means, with a political system that is no longer viable. And you can't arc back to the Dark Ages and use force. How do you move forward within a system that is designed to keep you down? And more each day, limit and restrict your freedom to do anything. Well, you could disengage from that system as much as possible. Give it as little as you can. And start something else. It doesn't have to be huge. From little acorns grow mighty oaks. So I'm talking about a parallel society that could be started within this system, where people who are like-minded join together, operate businesses for themselves, put into place structures and systems that benefit themselves, and build something new. Has this been tried before? Well, yes. In the 1940s, late 40s, Czechoslovakia became a communist country. And 20 years later, in the late 60s, Russia took control of Czechoslovakia and clamped down on any remaining freedoms the people did have there. Now, during the next 10 years, a group of dissidents within that country formulated a system and a society that was able to operate and permeate to the wider public, that went against that communist regime. They started schools, they printed literature. They discussed subjects that were no longer allowed to be discussed. And one of the most important aspects of what they did was they imported, distributed, and showed Western cinematography. Now today that may not be such a good thing, but the reason that was important in the 70s in a hardline communist country was they were able to show the wider public that there was an alternative, that there was a different way of living, that there were different systems. And to be honest, what these people viewed in the films and TV programs that were smuggled into that country looked a hell of a lot better than the lives they were living under communism. And slowly but surely, this parallel society that they had formed, meetings, networks, groups, structures, schools, literature, propaganda, media, right down to money, where they spoke about creating their own money to use within their group and their network so as not to give anything back to the communist regime. Within a relatively short period of time, so through the 70s and into the 1980s, their system, their parallel society, grew to such an extent and gained such momentum and popularity that communism was toppled in that country. No war, not a shot was fired. It just gave up. And the leaders of this parallel society took control of the country. And moved it towards a much more westernized European social outlook. They won. Now, was it all plain sailing? No, not at all. When I've spoken about parallel societies and structures before, a lot of people have pointed out that the system will come down hard on anything it sees as a threat. And they're right. These people in Czechoslovakia were imprisoned. Some of them just disappeared. But they didn't stop. They didn't just give in. They were fighting for a cause that they believed in and for their people. So I understand when someone says, if you try to do that within this system, that may be just as oppressive, it will come down hard. Maybe so. But you see, there's a difference between a liberal democracy and 1970s communist Russia. is that liberal democracy has a facade. Only remnants of it still there, but still a facade it would like to keep. Outwardly, it doesn't want to be seen as strict, as restricting as 1970s Russia. Truth be told, there's not much in it. But that facade goes in our favour. We can use that. So we should start banding together. We should start looking at ways we can trade together. We should start looking at networks throughout our given countries, between countries, between like-minded people. What can we do to help each other? And the most important thing, you see, those people in Czechoslovakia knew what they didn't like, but were unsure of what it was they wanted until they were shown. Until the distribution of those Western films and TV programs where they could see an alternative. So it's going to be really important to offer an alternative, to offer a vision, not just a list of things we don't like and don't want, and not just a list of things we do want, but a vision. We need to paint a picture, and better still, we need to do it in reality. We need to build it, live it, talk it, and let people see it. Because once people see an alternative that offers more and of a better calibre than what this system offers, it will grow quickly. And who knows, from little acorns. So these things have been tried in the past, and they have been successful in toppling very powerful ideologies. And it happens when you show the people a viable, better alternative. Here's to new beginnings, and here's to a better way. Speak to you soon, people.